Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Well this new morning. We're going to look at a passage which is going to be very familiar to you. It's in the context of the parable of the Good Samaritan, and we're looking at Luke chapter 10, verse 27. Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all of your soul, with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbour as yourself." I'm sure for all of you here listening, that is your heart cry, to love the Lord with everything that we've got inside of us and to love the people in front of us and around us well. But the question always comes back to, but how do I do that? How do I do that then in a time that is just hard and monotonous, like the one we're in now? I know for many of us, we're finding this season just hard, and it's hard just to keep on going. And how do we find that strength? How do we draw on his strength? We know, don't we, the answer to loving well is to receive his love. How do we receive his love? Well, we sit in it. We sit in the seat of his forgiveness. So how do we love well? Well, we love well by following what he tells us to do. And with that, we need his strength. And with that, we know we can't possibly get it all right, which is why we receive his love by sitting in the seat of forgiveness. But we align ourselves to it. We align ourselves not in a way of striving, but in a way of real relationship with him. You know, recently I've been reading through the first books of the Old Testament again, through Genesis, and I'm about halfway through Exodus, and I'm just blown away again by the stories, because it's the stories of who God is. It's his character. It's his character which is so faithful through when everybody keeps messing up and disobeying, and he is just faithful. He's forgiving, he's loving, he is true. And I love that he keeps saying and commanding the Israelites to remember the stories of Isaac, of Jacob, of Israel. And as we look at those stories, we know that in that there's the fast suddenlies of God, and then there's just the long wait, while things are just taking time to play out. You know, I was really reflecting on the story of the Exodus. And when they've crossed the Red Sea, we've got Moses and his sister Miriam celebrating and singing a song. And it struck me, Moses was 80 years old. 80. Miriam would have been older by that point, and she would have remembered the time of when Moses was a baby set apart in the Moses basket to be rescued, of the time when she would obviously take him to Pharaoh's palace to be raised there. She would have remembered as he grew into a man and who he became, and his escape to the desert and where he'd gone for 40 years of silence. I wonder what she thought. I wonder what she was thinking of who that baby was said to be. And then came the Exodus, suddenly, when the Red Sea parted and off they went, and they could celebrate God's faithfulness. And here we are commanded to remember the stories. Why? Because it's God's character and it's God's faithfulness. And how do we love? How do we hold on to loving the Lord our God with all our heart, soul and mind through the times when we're stretched, and the times where it's mundane, and the times where we can't see the way out? It's remembering who he is and sitting in that place of how he loves us, of his forgiveness where we've tried so hard and can't quite keep up with all he's commanded us to do and be as people. He knows we can't. And so we sit in his love and his forgiveness in all that Jesus came to do. And so I commend you today. Why don't we just take time to remember to love him well is not mustering all inside us what we can do, but it's making choices to believe who he is, how he loves us, and sitting and receiving. And so let's remember today who he is, what he's done, and that he's got a master plan